I would agree with what Alexander Hamilton wrote in Federalist 78, that judicial review is a crucial part of maintaining the checks and balances of the Constitution. You said, well, what about the text? Yeah, the text is great, but the words don't jump off the page and run around and enforce themselves. Congress enacts a law, and they say, well, we think it's constitutional, or for that matter, we don't care that much, but we pretend we think it's constitutional. And then what? Well, you say, but here's the text of the Constitution. Well, good. What is that going to do you? When you say, here's the text of the Constitution, you have to have an enforcement mechanism, and that's, by the way, one of the things that's the well understood political truths that pervades our Constitution is when you need to do something, when something needs to be done, you need to have the enforcement mechanism that can work to make it happen. So those words on paper of the Constitution would be, as Madison feared, mere parchment barriers if we just left it to the parchment and the ink. We need to have an enforcement mechanism. One of the enforcement mechanisms include elections, when the people decide that a legislator has voted for a law which violates the Constitution. They're by far the most important of the enforcement mechanisms. But an additional enforcement mechanism is judicial review. And when the case is brought before a court, and the court decides whether the law that the court has to apply is a true law, or whether that statute enacted by Congress is actually no law at all, because it violates the the fundamental law, the Constitution. Judicial review is certainly not a perfect barrier against unconstitutional actions, nor are elections, nor is anything. And that's the genius of the Constitution, is it doesn't rely, in most places, on just one system. It understands that people are fallible, they can be self-deluding, and they tend to have a desire to increase their own power. And the genius of the Constitution is it sets power against power, ambition against ambition. Judicial review is one part of that system of checks and balances. Nothing in it's perfect. The most important check and balance, again, is the hearts and minds of the American people.